Hi, I'm with Badger Basket, here to go through the assembly instructions for the Empress Round Baby Bassinet. Before we get started, make sure you look at all the pieces included. If you're missing anything or have any damaged parts, to please contact Badger Basket as shown in the end of the instructional video. It's very important that you follow these assembly instructions very closely as this pertains to the safety of your child. Before we get started, also know that this comes in multiple colors, but assembly will be the same. So let's get started. For step 1, you will need part B, the top ring, part E, the rear upper leg, and part F, the front upper leg. For this step, we're going to be putting the upper legs into the top ring. When looking at the upper legs, you'll see these pins located at the bottom. Now it's really important that these pins go through the holes in the upper ring at each of these 4 sites. Now the legs have thicker bottoms and thinner at the top. We want these thicker bars here to go into these inserts, okay? So when putting these down, they should fit just into place. We're gonna have to push in these metal pins, push it down so that they secure into all 4 locations. Now if you have this turned the wrong way, these pins will not line up to these holes that are pre-drilled. So just make sure that you have these in correctly so that when you put these down, that you see these pins pop through these holes. So we're gonna push this one down. I'm gonna push in this pin. So now when you see both pins pop through into these holes, now you know that this leg is securely held into place. So we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Again, putting the thicker part of these poles going down into these inserts. And now these 2 are securely held into place. For step 2, you need 2 of part D, the lower legs, 4 of part N, which are the wheels, and part K, the mesh shelf. Next, we're going to be putting on the lower legs and attaching them to these upper legs. Now the lower legs, you'll see on one side, where it kind of curves in a little bit, is where you're going to see these holes for pins. This is what's going to be going down onto these upper legs that we already have into place. When putting these on, they do curve outward. Now it's important when you put these on to these upper legs that's curving outward for more stability. Also, when putting these on, you want to make sure you're going opposite leg to opposite leg. So don't have this bar parallel with this one. We want to have them on the opposite sides for more support. So we're going to attach these 2 upper legs together by this lower leg. So when putting this on, again, you'll see that these holes need to line up to these pins. Now it's important that you make sure you get this all the way down to place and that these pins securely are pushed down and you see them pop through those holes, like so. So now when looking at this, you'll see that these are bowing outward. And again, they're connecting one upper leg to the other. So it's going to make a square with these bars. So we're going to put this last one on. In the case that you put this on backwards, where it's bowing inward, this hole will not line up with this pin. That's when you know you have it backwards. So you'll turn it around, put it down, again, push in these pins, and make sure that they're both poking through so that this is securely held into place. Next what I'm going to be doing is putting on the mesh shelving. Now when looking at the mesh shelf, you're going to see a zipper on this very end here that has the other part of the zipper kind of a little portion down from it. Essentially we're going to be curling this around the pole, which is going to be holding this shelf into place. So we're going to wrap this around here. And we're going to be wrapping this around the lower legs that we just put into place. We're going to zip it the whole length. And then we're going to reach this across to the other side, again curling this around And doing the same thing again, zipping it the length of the legs. Just like that. The last part of this step is putting the wheels into place. Now the wheels are going to be going down into these holes that are already in each of these legs. Now just by putting the wheel down, it won't go all the way down to that ridge. What we need to do is we need to firmly but gently push down to try to get this wheel down to snap in. You'll hear it click and then you won't really be able to pull it back out. Now if you're unable to push these down all the way, sometimes it helps to use a rubber mallet. Just make sure you're not hitting them too hard where you're going to break them. Just kind of softly tap them down until they click into place. So let's get all 4 of these wheels pushed down. For step 3, you need part I, the fabric liner skirt. For this step, what we're going to be doing is putting the liner and the skirt onto the frame that we've already assembled. Now this part is extremely important that you do this correctly for the safety of your child. We're going to be zipping this liner and this skirt onto the frame, and if it's not done properly, it could be dangerous. So please make sure you have this done correctly as following my instructions. So what we're going to be doing is first taking this liner and the skirt and we're going to be draping it over the frame that we've already put into place. When looking at the skirt, you will find a slot on one part of the skirt. If you can see here, it's kind of hidden within the folds. Now this part is extremely important that you line up to this canopy post that's already put on one of the upper legs. Now it's only in one location, so make sure that this hole lines up to this post here. So what I'm going to do is drape this whole liner and skirt over the frame. Again, making sure that the slot in the material here lines up to that canopy post. So once you kind of have this skirt draped over this frame here, what we're going to be doing is looking under the skirt where you're going to see a bunch of zippers going around. Now this part is the most important part. We're going to be making sure that this zipper goes around this top ring here. Make sure to keep this foam on the top ring. That's very important for this step. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this zipper going around that foam, and then we're going to zip it the whole length. I want to reiterate the importance of why having these zippers put together correctly is so important for your baby's safety. When we put these zippers going all the way around the top, if you don't do them correctly or you don't zip them, even with the base in the bassinet, any weight in the bassinet can pull these down where your baby could potentially fall, making it a very dangerous situation. So I want to go through how to properly zip all of these zippers one at a time. So here's an image showing you the correct and incorrect way to properly zip the zipper. You need to make sure that the metal pin is fully inserted into the retaining box prior to pulling the zipper shut. If the metal pin is not fully put into that metal retaining box and only slightly put in before you start zipping, you can actually pull the metal pin out and it can unzip by any weight in the bassinet. So what you want to make sure you do is that you have this metal pin pushed down as far as it can go so that it's level or even across this whole bottom before you zip. Now there's a zipper in between each of these legs. So there's going to be 4 different zippers that we need to zip going around this top ring. So just to show you this first one here, going around that top ring, we're going to zip this all the way until it gets to the next leg. So now this part of the skirt and the liner is securely held to this frame. So now if I spin this, you're going to find another zipper in between the next two posts here. So I'm going to go around and do the remaining 3 zippers. Again, make sure there's a total of 4 zippers that you have zipped into place around this top frame. So let's get these all zipped up. Next, what you're going to do is go around the bassinet body and secure these red safety snaps you see here. This is a new added safety feature to make sure that the zippers are held securely into place. Also, over time, make sure that you're inspecting these zippers to make sure that they're not loosening up or unzipping at any point. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the handle of the zipper, you're going to have it all the way facing away from the zipper teeth here, and you're going to take the red safety snap going around the zipper, and then you're going to securely snap it into place. So you'll see one on one end of the zipper and one by the retaining box on the other end, making it 2 for each zipper. So let's get all 8 of these securely snapped into place. For step 4, you need part A, the bottom. For this step, what we're going to be doing is putting the bottom into the bassinet. First, what I'm going to do is put this liner, this skirt, to the outside so we can see this liner at the bottom. Now, when looking in the liner, you're going to see these slots in the material in 4 different places. These slots line up with these bars from the upper legs. Now, when putting the bottom down, the bottom has 4 clips that need to go through these slots, and they need to clip onto the bar of these legs. Now, for this step, it is nice to have assistance if somebody can be looking underneath to make sure that those clips are being placed over these bars while somebody on top is applying pressure to push the clips securely on the bars. So this is the bottom where these clips are going to be going in onto those bars. So what I'm going to do is place this down into the bassinet, and then from underneath I'm going to make sure that these clips get through that hole in the liner in all 4 places. And making sure that it's lining up with those 2 bars from those upper legs. Now what you're going to want to do is apply pressure over all 4 of these spots to make sure that you're pushing this down. You'll hear when they're snapping into place. like so. So now all 4 of mine clip down, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tip this upside down and make sure that all 4 of those clips are securely held onto those legs. So as you can see, these clips have gone through the material and they're held securely to these bars on the upper legs in all 4 locations. For step 5, you need part L, the canopy pole, part C, the canopy hoop, part H, the fitted fabric sheet, and part G, the vinyl foam pad. So for this step, what I'm going to do first is putting the fitted sheet onto the pad. So we're just going to kind of tuck it around all sides of the pad, making sure that you can see the fabric on the underside around the whole circle. And then we're going to be putting the whole fitted pad down into the bottom of the bassinet. Make sure it's snugly put down into place. Next, what we're going to be doing is putting on the canopy pole. If you put this skirt on correctly, you'll see the slit in the material here should line up to this canopy post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the canopy pole through this material, the skirt hole here. Then I'm going to lift up the skirt so I can see what I'm doing here. Now this piece here is going to slide down onto the canopy post. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up, and then we're going to make sure that it slides right down. So it shouldn't be able to come off, and you're going to push it all the way down as far as it can go. So essentially this canopy post and the bottom of the canopy pole should be flush. And then it shouldn't be able to slide off either way. Then what we can do is we can put the skirt back down. Then what we're going to do is put the canopy hoop onto the canopy pole. Now the canopy hoop on one side has this metal pin here. This metal pin needs to go through the hole on the underside of this canopy pole. So we're going to be putting it on like this. We're going to push in that metal pin, slide it on until you hear it click and you can physically see that metal pin poke through. Then you know that the canopy hoop is in place. The last thing to do is to put on part J, the fabric canopy. Now the fabric canopy has a nice decorative bow on one side here at the top. This should go towards the front of the bassinet. So I'm going to be draping this whole canopy here over this metal hoop. Now this fabric canopy comes with 2 Velcro spots to secure it to this metal hoop. So there's one in the front and one in the back. The one in the front here is just going to Velcro around the metal hoop to hold this fabric canopy into place. What I like to do is I kind of like to put it around the whole edge here just so that it kind of securely holds it. And then same with the back. I'm going to kind of twist it around this whole pole here. Just like that, so that the fabric canopy is held into place. And then we'll drape it across on all sides. And then you're all set. Some models do come with a decorative belt. To put this into place, we're going to take this belt, we're going to thread it through starting from the front. You can go either direction, but you're going to thread it through these loops that you'll see in place going around. So we'll start here. I'm going to go around finding all the loops that it has and thread this belt going through. Then you can tie a decorative bow in the front. Once you've completed all the assembly instructions, make sure you do a final inspection of the bassinet. We want to make sure that this is safe for your child. For example, make sure when you push down on the bottom here against this liner or the bottom liner around this bottom board, make sure that this liner does not move or the skirt doesn't climb up. If at any point this liner and you're able to push the liner down, something may be wrong with one of the zippers, so you need to check your zippers to make sure that those are correctly put into place. Also inspect the legs, making sure all that the metal pins are pushed through securely into their holes. We want to make sure that this is safe for your child, so if you have any questions or concerns about it, make sure to contact Badger Basket as shown at the end of the instructional video. And that concludes the assembly for the Empress Round Baby Bassinet. Remember, do periodic checks on your bassinet to make sure that nothing is damaged or loosened over time. Your baby's safety is important to you, which is important to us. So please make sure if you have any questions or concerns to please contact Badger Basket as shown in the next video clip. Badger Basket thanks you for watching and enjoy.